Fam, what's up, squad? It's your favorite auntie with Uncle Tendencies. I'm here again, y'all. Here we go. Coach Rowe, he got something started. We here with Coach Lawal, here in the Michigan area. And we're gonna jump into this conversation just about basketball and how it changes things and how you've been able to shape some of the talent coming out of the Metro Detroit area and just some of your career. So, Coach Wall, thank you so much for your time. I start every interview with the same question: when did you first fall in love with basketball?
Man, I first fell in love with basketball in the fifth grade. I was trash at it. I was in Pontiac. I was going to LeBaron Elementary School in Pontiac, and everybody hooped. I was a soccer kid. I'm, Nigerian, so I grew up in soccer, and everybody hooped. So I just picked the sport up. Couldn't dribble with my left. I'm left-handed. I couldn't dribble with my strong hand, let alone my weak hand. Couldn't hit the side of the barn, but I just love the sport, man, because it was so fluid. It reminded me a lot of soccer. But it's the same,
Okay,
it's the same principles of soccer, just the hand instead of feet, so fell in love with it, man. But when I really dug in was when I started to get better, you know. And nothing like getting better at a sport to make you really, really take it serious.
Coach. I don't know that anybody has ever started a love story with "I was trash at it," but I mean, it's the first time. It's the first time for everything, you know. Okay, I was trash at it, but I was in love. Basketball will do that to you. Okay, I love it. I was trash at it, but I couldn't walk away from it. I mean, and I think that's what just kind of keep everybody coming back to the court, right? So so I noticed that you are going. You were selected recently to lead the Marion basketball program. Tell me a little bit about how that happened for you.
um, yeah, it ain't too far away.
That's
Uh,
right. Show it off. That's right. Show it off, coach.
I've I saw the job posting and I was a little hesitant about it just because of the demographic of the school and just not so much that I feel like I can coach any group of kids, but I just didn't know if I would necessarily be their cup of tea. But I had a great conversation with the president, Heather Sofran, and she was very encouraging, man. She really encouraged me to apply and to interview. So I interviewed, and you know, I always tell you when somebody's interviewing you for a position, that you're interviewing them as well. And I thought that, Heather, the principal, Stacy, and the athletic director, Mike, I thought they blew me away in the interview, man. They saw my vision to build something there. They were very understanding about, hey, look, we the demographic has to invite in diversity, and we got to
Yeah.
give kids of of that doesn't have the same financial ability a chance to get a great education, which Marion is, and anybody that hoops around this area, especially on the women's side, Marion's got, winning tradition. They got 6 state titles. Um, the replacing Mary Cicerone, who been there since the program started, it's not easy to fulfill, but unfortunately for my predecessor, she was her assistant for 9 years. She replaced her for 2 years. So I'm replacing Mary still, but I got a buffer. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a chance to bring that program back to greatness. I love building. I know everybody doesn't necessarily care for it. I love to build because I have an ego. I have a competitive ego. So I love I love to see a kid go from 35 to 60 rather than get a kid at 90 and she go to 92. It's like, yeah, I could celebrate the fact that you know she's she's at this point, but I love to see the initial product because it's it's a it's a skill in being able to see the ceiling in a kid with a low floor. So to see high ceiling and a low floor. So um, just take that same concept on a team perspective, man. I'm excited about it.
I think this is an interesting time in basketball to really be talking to you, just because we got the Olympics getting ready to start. Um, how did and then you had your experience with the Nigerian national team, right, with the
Yeah. Yep.
2016 Olympics. How does that shape you and get you ready for this moment right now?
I think uh, playing with the national team. I think the biggest thing that I learned about playing with my own, like my brothers, my own, like people that I felt like were truly blood, is that you're playing for something bigger than what you are. Like, when you got it's like best way to explain it is like high school in the neighborhood. Like, it was one thing to play professional, like you're in your professional season, somebody hired you, they contracted you, they're giving you money to represent their hometown. They're giving you money to represent their hometown. And then when the season's over, you're blessed with an opportunity to represent your home nation. And so when you're playing for your home nation, man, you're playing for your mother, you're playing for your grandmother, you're playing for your uncles, like you're playing for people who are truly embedded in that ethnicity. Like, my mom spent 2 years where she couldn't get a smile off her face because when people would be talking to her about the national team, they wouldn't know that was her son. Like, people back home, not people in the States, but they would talk about me in Nigeria, and she'll be like, that's my son. I'm like, no, that's not Shane. That's Shane Lawal. Like, no, 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 that's all I Shane. That's the little kid you knew that used to be at your house, and their mind would be blown. Like, what? Like, yeah, that's my son. And so just that pride that she had, I think that did it for me. It's it's a different level of, like, it's a different level of passion when you're playing for your blood. No, not for
Right,
your
right.
sex, playing for your blood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. I love that. So I guess when you talk about like the importance of being able to like play for your blood and the pride that your mom has, how does that shape your approach to the game?
I mean, only I would say it doesn't shape it because I was already nuts before. You know what I'm saying? I'm already crazy before, but every possession matters to me beforehand. I
Right.
think I've always been, I think I've always been real crazy about, you know, this might be my only chance to play. This might be my last possession. This might be my only chance to impress somebody. I always try to tell young kids, like, no matter how good you are, there's somebody who watching you for the first time. Like, let's say Ron watched me play, and he's like, "Yo, Cess, I got this brother. You gotta come watch. Dude is crazy. Like, he's in every offensive rebound. He's gonna dunk on everybody." So he finally convinces you to come to the gym and check me out. And I decide that's the game that I want to take off. That's the game that I don't want to go as hard. That's the game that I don't want to be. I don't want to max out. Now you're looking like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, are you wasting my time? Like, that's not. He doesn't impress me. So I just kind of I try to explain to kids, like, you never know who's watching you for the first time. You just never know. And concept,
Absolutely.
if somebody doesn't think you're good and they've already given a negative connotation to your name, every game is a chance to renew that. So if somebody else is watching you for the first time and they're under the impression that you're not that good of a basketball player, it's a chance for you to earn a new fan. You know,
Absolutely.
earn a new fan. So I mean, that's best way to put it.
And
Love
Coach
that.
Wall, you talked about camaraderie, and you play basketball at a very high level, even the basketball tournament with that overseas elite team. How do you instill that attitude of camaraderie in your players?
Um, I think it's culture building. I think you build a culture. I think the biggest difference. I think a lot of coaches speak culture and other people live culture. Like, there's one thing when you have core values. Most coaches have some sort of core values, something they put words down on. Sometimes it might be an acronym. Sometimes it might just be a phrase or collection of words. Like, for me, a few years ago, my second year at Renaissance, I created CHAMP, which was communication, hard work, accountability, mindset, preparation. And which is, I can go down the line and explain each one, but you just got to always communicate on and off the court. Got to play hard, got to wash your dishes with high energy. You got to be accountable to your parents, got to be accountable to yourself, got to be accountable to your coaches and your teammates. but you also got to hold your teammates accountable, hold your coach accountable, and depending on the household, hold your parents accountable. You got to have the proper mindset. You got to stay positive. You got to wake up. You got to wake up ready to, wake up positive, go to sleep positive. You got to enter the gym positive. You got to want to be better. And then preparation, how you prepare is how you play. And if you're doing your homework, you don't have to wait till a test to know what you're doing. Just um, those are my core values. But now, do I live it as a coach? No. Do I let my kids hold me accountable? My communicating, or do I struggle with communication as an adult? So many adults around us don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to take one. If somebody's wrong, it's hard for them to be like, "Yo, my bad. That's my fault." So there's different things like that, man. Is what so the biggest thing is, how do you live up to what you're trying to do? So when you start with a new program, you have to lay down that foundational base. And it's an uncomfortable moment of them learning what you're teaching. Like, look, non-negotiable. We touch every line. It's a non-negotiable around here. I know that's not what y'all used to, and you got bad habits of, cutting your sprint short, and no, you got to touch every line with your foot, or it doesn't count. It's one thing not to make the time, it's another thing not to run the full distance. Um, we don't leave without making the shot, or nobody dribbles or talks while coach is talking. Nobody dribbles or talks while one of your teammates is talking. Non-negotiable of, you know, we might not win the game, but we're going to play hard. If we don't play hard, then there's no point being here. And finding the things that you're okay with and the things you're not okay with. And the things you're not okay with, being clear and concise on that. I'm not okay with these things, and not budging for anybody. But more importantly, also, the stuff you're not okay with, teaching them how how to um, teaching them how to properly live up to, like, okay, if I say, hey, we always we always touch every line. I gotta show them what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell them, look, when we touch every line, and me, I'm trying to cut corners. So
Got it. I love that. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. So you mentioned about being accountable, and you mentioned about um, you holding them accountable, but
mhm,
as players holding each other accountable, holding the coach accountable, hold parents accountable.
yeah,
How do you empower, especially a young person that's not used to it? How do you empower a young person to hold adults accountable in a
it's the
way
first
that's respected?
it's the first level of communication. You teach kids how to communicate. Um, I let kids challenge me on a basketball court. I show them. I tell them the special way to do it. I said, look, if I'm gonna give you every tool to be the coach on the court, you're gonna see and feel something differently than I do. If you're studying a game, I might want to call a certain play, but you see something in the defense, and you're like, man, I want to try to attack that. Even if you fail, the part that I'm attracted to is the fact that you're thinking for yourself. And that comes with trust and comfort, because it's a weird feeling, but it's up to me to consistently repeat it to them. Like, look, I'm okay with you stepping out of bounds. I don't, and I always tell them, like, I played on a high level. I played for FC Barcelona. I played EuroLeague basketball. Outside of the NBA, nothing tops that, right?
Right.
It's, it's higher than everything but the NBA. So I when you're in a heated space, when you're in a high pressure space, that's the last thing you got time for, is to deliver something nicely. You're just trying to deliver something efficiently. So you can't hurt my feelings because I was a player. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of the coaches who get their feelings hurt with how people talk to them are people who didn't play the game. The game is too high intensity for me to sit there and be worried about how you speak to me. I'm trying to win. Get it out how you can get it out. It doesn't mean you're being disrespectful. Like, certain things I might dial you back later, but it's very important to me that when you're in a moment and you're dealing with, because frustration comes instantly, right? And maybe Coach Shane isn't hearing what you're trying to say. I don't need you to find the nicest way to deliver it to me. I need you to get the message to me. And it's very important to understand that, if you see something that's correct on the court, off the court, in a timeout, in a huddle, in a film session, and because you're afraid of me jumping down your throat when you bring it up, you don't say nothing. We're cooked. We're cooked. So it's important for me to lay an environment. I would check an assistant coach quick when they try to muzzle a kid. You know, I would
Mhm.
encourage parents. I encourage parents to listen to their kids. You know what I'm saying? And I would tell them, if you get in trouble with your parents, bring it back to me, and I'm going to communicate with your parent. Like, look, I'm trying to get them to be more open, because those same people that get into society, those are the adults that lie, steal, cheat, and kill, because they don't know how to communicate. You know what I'm saying? So better to learn how to communicate when you're young. So it's just point guard got to be able to talk, a big got to be able to talk. If we make a mistake, and I said, why did you do that? And he said, well, because I thought she was about to drive to the corner. You know what? Okay, that makes sense. And I'm not mad because I can live with the mistake of you trying to think something through,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we go.
Mm-hmm. And, Coach, you mentioned you talked about the core values. You talked about the different experiences that you have. So, interesting question for you. On all of those different levels, and right now in the role that you're in, how would you evaluate your personal performance as being a leader, as a coach right now?
I think I do a great job of it. I think mainly because I've learned from bumping my heads in the past. I think that with my current hot AAU team, um, Michigan Storm, we're Under Armour team, so we're getting ready to play in the Under Armour Section 2 UAA, Girls UAA Section 2 out here in Westfield, Indiana. It's at the Pacers Athletic Center. So really, really nice facility that the Pacers have, that they do a lot of like travel ball and stuff at. I have a really good 2027 team. That's rising 10th graders. They'll be 10th graders next month. Um, really, really good team. I think best in the state.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the best in the Midwest. And you know, just learning that, I I, I have to give these kids a chance to succeed by getting out of their way. Sometimes, give them the tools that they need, give them the tools that they need to be successful. But get out their way, let them figure it out on their own, man, and let them go make goals. Because I haven't coached high school in a couple of years. So for me, I've really focused a lot on our travel team. So, I'm excited to get back to Maryland soon. But as far as on the travel ball level, man, I let these kids play. I got some really, really good players that you'll probably hear about in the near future. But not so many. A lot of them are not from Metro Detroit. I don't really have a lot of Metro Detroit kids on my roster this time, but I've had in the past. So I kind of jumped around the question a little bit in my mind. I got bad memory, bro. You,
No,
It's
no,
all
no,
good.
no,
It's all
no.
good.
That's
That was
part of it.
perfect.
Yeah, that was the foundation of it. I was asking, like, how do you evaluate what you do now, like as a coach, having such an exemplary career? So you started it by mentioning how you developed your players, how you go about how you moved around.
so how do I evaluate what I've done as a coach? Man, I think that you can always get better as a coach. I think you have to be your hardest critic. I think if you're always your hardest critic, man, you're gonna get closer and closer to success. I think that, I know my weaknesses as a coach. I think from a gameplay standpoint, I think my biggest weakness always has been zone offense. Um, so I try to keep people with a zone mind around me. Um, I can tweak your daughter's shot. I can't teach her how to shoot. So I always try to, always send them to somebody that can shoot. Um, Outside of that, man, I think that I'm blessed to kind of have every other tool in my tool bag. I can develop like crazy. I can develop a guard, a wing, a big. It don't make a difference to me. Uh, your kid will get smarter in my program. Your kid's confidence will grow in my program. Their habits, their discipline will grow. Um, I think I've learned a better work-life balance. Just trying not I have to learn that at the end of the day, they're not your kids, they're somebody else's kids. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're trying to over pour into them, you have to pour into them, but you have to, like, I'm not their father, you know. most of these kids have a parent in their life. So it's important for me to never overstep that boundary, even if it seems like it's welcomed and it's warranted. At some point, you gotta remember that you got your own kids. You know, you parent your own kids, and that's one of the biggest things that I've done better as a coach is trying to be dad first instead of being so brought into coaching that I neglect my own kids or develop them a little bit. I've been taking Akila to the gym. My oldest daughter. I've been taking Akila to the gym, working on her ones and twos, trying to lay down that foundation. So I'm proud of that. Make forcing myself to cut out important time for her and her little sisters in the future.
That's excellent.
That's awesome. So,
That's excellent.
Coach, I'm looking in. I mean, you won championships. You've been with the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
You've been international. You were talking about dunking. You were talking about a lot of exciting stuff. Are you intentional and deliberate about coaching girls?
Yes.
And if so, how? How did we get there from everywhere that
Yes.
you've been? Right?
Elite question. Elite question. So I have twin sisters. They're they graduated high school class of 2016. They graduated college class of 2020. So Ty and Kende in Yoruba it means first twin and second twin. I mean, so Ty and Kende Bello they played at Southfield Lakers. Um, Late bloomers to the game, mainly because I'm 12 years older than them. So when they were in middle school, I was overseas early in my career, grinding, trying to, climb. And they always wanted to play basketball because of me, but I never had the time for them. And when you're a younger pro, you're pouring all your free time into your craft as you should. So they used to always pull on, can we go with you? Can we go with you? But it's impossible if I'm here at this level and they have no basketball background. Like, how do I take them with me to the gym and get some work done? So finally, one summer, I started cutting out time for them. So probably going into the eighth grade season, we got in the gym and we started working. And we just started working it. And I noticed that they were learning the game at a very, very fast pace. And it kind of blew me away. Like, wait a minute. Because up to this point, I never trained anybody. I never claimed to be a trainer. I just try to give them the tools of what I thought they would need right away to be good at the game. Now it helps that they're got the same genetics as me. One is 6'2", one is 6'3", long athletes that can grab the rim. You know what I'm saying? So um, I'm like, y'all kind of good. So and I remember them going into high school, and I'm like, man, you guys are pretty good. I think going into that sophomore year, one of the twins was the second best player in the state. Behind Kaiser Grandizic that plays for the Chicago Sky, right? So um, I was like, dang, man. And what I realized was I would always hear a lot of men complain about coaching girls, like how hard it was for them to coach girls, how they can't fool with it because of whether it was, sexual harassment or, feeling like girls can be too emotional, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sitting there like, I love coaching girls. Like these boys are stupid. Like boys are dumb. You tell a boy do A, you do B. Like bro, I told you this. I told you to do a one dribble pull up. You did a three dribbles between the legs, step back, NBA three. Like yo, girls, listen. You tell a girl go A, go to point B. She gonna do exactly what you tell her, even to her own detriment. Because they they're more methodical in how they learn. So I said, man, I'd rather coach girls. I said, and mainly, I think for me, knowing that a lot of men struggle with coaching girls was what made me stop definitely want to coach girls. So I naturally gravitated to the girl side because that's the side my little sisters were on. So as they were finishing up, when I retired, Coach Taylor, who was the program director for Michigan Storm, he took my sisters in because I would always be gone. Like the years that they were playing high school travel ball was like some of the prime years of my pro career, 2013, 14, 15. 2015 is when I had a lot of championship success, so I wasn't around. So that man gave so much to my family. It's just the way I'm raised. It's like, now you're gonna get it back tenfold. So when I came back, when I retired, he was the first one I went to. Like, I want to coach. I want to coach you. So I want to give you my time, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I've tried to deal with that on the boys' side. I train boys. I apply for boys. I applied for boys' jobs this past year. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I'd rather coach girls, man. And then God is hilarious. His sense of humor is tremendous because he got 3 daughters. It's like, nah, bro, you staying on the girl side. You know, I got 3 sisters, no brothers. I got 3 daughters and 1 son. Like, he's like, nah, you staying on the girl side, whether you want to or not. So cool with
That's
me.
dope. That's dope. So you immigrated here from you born in Nigeria. Correct me if I'm wrong. You immigrated here at like 8 years old, um, and
Yep.
then of course you're a graduate of Southfield Lathrop. But I want to talk about a lot of times we do a lot of talking about Camila Cardoso on our show, and
Hmm.
I would like to understand from your perspective, like what was it like to immigrate here in this game? Like, were you already playing basketball in Nigeria, and then how did that change when you got here? And
I was
uh,
a soccer. I play soccer a lot. But you grow up around Black Americans, you grow up in the hood, they're gonna make fun of you for playing soccer. Like, my nickname was Soccer Boy. That was my nickname in middle school in Pontiac, and high school in Southfield. That was my nickname, was Soccer Boy. And it was a negative connotation. It was like, it wasn't a cool sport. Like, it was considered, the word back then that boys used to use is, that's gay. So that's how people perceive it. It's like it's a soft sport. It's not a sport that boys should play. So that was my initial sport, and I was really good at soccer. Like most people from Nigeria that are like, it's like a second nature sport to us. But you get here and it's like, anytime you have friends, what do friends do for fun? They play American football and they play basketball. In American football back in the day, like, everybody used to play tackle football in somebody's yard, or you know whatever it is. But as you start to get older, football kind of phased itself out as a recreational fun sport amongst kids. All everybody want to do is hoop. So like, I finished high school 2004. I finished middle school 2000. So I was back there. You know, everybody's always want to go to the park and play ball. So that's where you fall in love with the sport, because I think, to me, the reason why I think so many people fall in love with basketball is because of freedom of movement sport. It's a fluid movement sport, just like soccer. They're very similar, where there's like, even though there are rules to it, there are no rules to the movement of your body. I think the difference between basketball and soccer is, basketball is still played with your feet on the ground most of the time. And soccer is played with your feet on the ground most of the time. Basketball is played air, and it's no controlling how you go in the air, change your direction on the ground. Like, literally, if you put yourself into a field, there's no limitation on how you can move on a basketball court, similar to a soccer field. You go play football, there's set, there's structure in how you can move. Maybe not everybody, but there's a lot more structure in movement. Tennis, structure and movement. Volleyball, there's definitely structure and movement. These are all athletic sports, but basketball is the most fluid of all competitive sports. You know, so when you start adding strategy to it, motion, and gameplay, I think it's the easiest sport to fall in love with. And then I started getting tall. I started getting tall, and soccer was a little bit harder. You know, and I wasn't playing basketball yet, but everybody's like, you need a hoop, you need a hoop, you need a hoop, and you start, and you start, and then I'm a extremely, extremely competitive person. So I hated not being good at it. So I think that had a big part to do with it. It's like, yo, you know, everybody keeps telling me how I was tall for nothing, whatever. And, if I had your height, I would do this. If I had your height, I would do that. So I took exception to a lot of that stuff, man. So I took it personal, and I would always work harder to be the best version of myself.
It's funny you mentioned the connection with soccer and basketball, because I saw your footage and the way
Mm-hmm.
you moved around that rim, it was different. With
Yeah,
very quick feet. So my
yeah.
question, kind of getting into what Cess was kind of rolling into, what would be your advice to a big, like instilling some of those soccer moves to get them better developed around the rim? Like how could they
And
develop that better?
biomechanics and genetics. I don't think you can. I think you all want to be quicker. So like, I mean, I don't think you just become quicker just by doing drills. I think that one, you need to be born into a quick family. You need to be born into an athletic family. You need to have some bit of genetics towards athleticism, speed, strength, flexibility, mobility, whatever that is. And I think that biomechanics is important. You got to do a lot of hip work. I think, especially in girls, hips and feet are high. No, it's not fair. In youth, period, hips and feet are highly neglected. The difference is boys, when boys go through puberty, they're going through something different than what girls go through with puberty. So mobility and flexibility is not affected as much. But if you're as a big, you just I do a lot of hip and mobility work, man. You got to really, really make sure that you're improving your hip flexors, improving your hip rotation. You're strengthening your up. I think one of the most, if I could redo my childhood, I would have worked a lot on my dorsal flexion and my feet because that's where you get the range of motion from up and down. It's like if you got flexible ankles, feet, then you can really power up when you're jumping. Like if you want to, okay, if you want to improve your squat, improve your dorsal flexion, improve your range of motion in your feet. And I think when y'all get off the call, go try and bend try to see if you can get your toes close to your shin. If your toes can't crack 90 degrees towards your shin, that's not a good look. And I'm speaking from somebody who can't really, you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that kids should really work on is the range of motion in there. And when I'm talking about foot, and I don't know if the camera can see it, like imagine if this is your leg and this is your foot. I can't. So imagine if this is your leg
Mm-hmm.
and this is your foot. You want to get this higher and higher and higher, right? Um, and the people who really are flexible and mobile are the ones that are explosive. So increasing your dorsal flexion, increasing your hip flexor, your hip extension, and those aren't easy things to improve. They're not easy. If everybody can do it, everybody would. Everybody would be bouncing. But those are the main things that you got to really strengthen to be explosive. I didn't really understand some of that stuff. Some of that stuff I was okay at, but I didn't really understand it until later. And by the time I understood it, I was already late in the game trying to figure it out. Yoga helps a lot. Yoga focuses naturally on your body being used the correct way, and being properly aligned and being your range of motion being great at every joint. So yoga is, if it's too much to try to figure out on yourself, find a good yoga practice, a good yoga instructor, and they'll fix a lot of that stuff in your kid.
Hmm.
I love that. What I want to focus a little bit kind of on the on your coaching and player development. What would you say have been some of your biggest challenges in those areas?
Hmm. I think getting a product that's already stained, like I speak from my own daughter. She's 9 right now. We really first time I started working with her was last summer, when she was 8. I introduced her to a really good friend of mine, Greg Graves, who was a great shooter, and I had him put a shooting foundation down for her. And this summer now, working on ball handling, layups, her feet, teaching her zero step, then her 1-2 into a layup. Instead of teaching her 1-2, I'm teaching her how to establish a zero step with her last dribble, et cetera, et cetera. The importance of this is a lot of times when we're coaching, the second they get to the seventh grade, it's too late sometimes. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, you'll get a product that's been improperly stained by somebody else, right? Their fundamentals are out of whack because that person was trying to hit a home run in their skill development. how to go through your legs 5, 6, 7 times, spin to the layup. But then you'll look at the move and it's like they're jumping off the wrong foot. They're not extending on the layup. They don't square up when they spin. When they put the ball down, their feet is not squared. So all these different things, but it's been neglected for so long. Those are bad habits now. So now when I'm telling her, look, when you make your move and you're squaring up, you got to make sure that your strong arm is in front of it. You got to make sure your shoulder squares this type of way. She never heard that before. So I'm not just trying to add something to her bag. I'm trying to take something out of her bag, which is the hard part. It's like that's the part that's implanted. That stuff is implanted because you learn that when you first learn how to walk in basketball. So it's harder for me to remove that bad habit rather than just put good habits in. So like I'd rather a kid start late and be a blank canvas. That's one reason why my sisters were so successful was that, but even when we started working, they hadn't learned bad habits. So it's easy to just quickly build on good habits. You know, that's a good question.
So, I believe it was the Afro Basket 2015 that you won. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Which
So
qualified us for the 2016 Olympics.
dope. Okay. Now that part I did know. And I was gonna say I'm sure that was like a career highlight. What did
Yeah.
that victory mean to you? And then how do you share that experience to motivate your team, if at all?
So it was so that was it meant a lot to me because it was the first time Nigeria won the African championship. You know, the first time Nigerian basketball won the African championship. Like, um, and I was a big part of that. Um, it was the second Olympics that Nigeria was qualified for, and it was just the way we went about it, doing it, man. Like we would meet every day before. We would meet every night after a game. We would just check each other in the most respectful way. We would just meet in somebody's room and just talk about everything we liked, everything we didn't like, and there was no egos. Like it was, Ike who was drafted, who was drafted. You have Alpha Camino, who played in the NBA for a while, and you had other guys who sniffed the NBA or played EuroLeague. And so for us, it was no egos involved. I was on my way to Barcelona myself, so we could talk to each other about what we needed to do. All we cared about was leaving there with the goal. Um, it meant a lot for me because I think up until that point, I had a great 2015 calendar year. I was in Italy playing my pro career. I was playing my pro season, my professional season, my money season, right? I was playing my with a team in Italy called Dinamo Sassari, which is on the island of Sardinia. So we won the Italian Cup February 2015. We beat Milan, which Milan was the best team in the league. A bunch of NBA guys on that roster: Linus Glazer, um, Marshawn Brooks, Samardo Samuels, Nicola Melli. He hadn't went to the league yet. But a lot of guys that NBA either going to the NBA or coming from the NBA. And they had the biggest budget in Italy, and we beat them in the Italian Cup in February 2015. So we won the Italian Super Cup, which is the preseason tournament, in September 2014. We win the Italian Cup, which is the mid-season tournament, in February 2015. And then we win the championship in June 2015. I come home. Me and my wife we bought a house that summer. We bought a house in Westland that summer. Um, and then I left right away to go with Nigeria to go to training camp with Nigeria in France. I asked my coach to let me go to New York for the TBT Final Four, win a $1 million tournament in July, well, early August, in New York. Fly back out to I think they were in Paris. Yeah, fly back out to Paris go to finish the rest of the training camp, go to Tunisia, win the African Championship, come home for like a few days. I probably spent 2 weeks at home that summer. Come home for like a few days, go to Barcelona, biggest contract I had at that time. Go to Barcelona to start my next pro season and win a Super Cup 2015 September. So in a calendar year, just won everything I could win. Just winning everything I could win. So for me, that was just a small piece of a bigger thing. But it was the craziest feeling ever. Like just being successful. Everything that you've ever worked on was just coming. It was just coming to fruition. Coming to fruition. Like playing on your national team only happens for a couple months in the summer. Olympics is once every 4 years. World Cup is once every 4 years. African Championship is twice every 4 years. But you spending 10 months playing pro basketball also. That's really the meat and potatoes. It's the pro season. That's what explain it is. Y'all keep asking me questions about LeBron James' time between USA, but LeBron is with the Lakers the rest of the time too. He's winning championships there too. So just to kind of get the full picture of that, like yeah, it's dope, but it's like dog. It's one thing to win that, but to win that allow everything else to win. I think it gives you a remarkable feeling.
Absolutely. As we get to wrap up, as we get close to wrapping up here, Coach. What advice would you give to a young aspiring basketball player dreaming of playing professionally or coaching at a high level?
You gotta take a bite at a time. I think that you keep your mindset right, everything else will fall in place. I think for me to just always bring back and be like, man, how did I get here? Because I was so far behind everybody else. And if you look at it just in 1 year, you won't catch whoever you're trying to catch in a short amount of time. But if you have the right mindset, then you can put a game plan together. If you can put a game plan together, then you have to gravitate to the right people. You gotta, which is the hard part, because who knows who the right people are, right? I
Right.
can walk into a room, I see Coach Rowe on one side, I see Cess on the other side, and I'm like, okay, one of them is going to guide me to greatness, and one of them going to guide me to the toilet. You know what I'm saying? How do I know which one if I
Mhm.
don't know basketball?
Mhm.
You research, you ask people around, you dig into who they already work with. Like, okay, again, is Coach Rowe working with a kid that was started at 25 and is now at a 60? Is Seth working with a kid that started at 70 and is now at 71? Yeah, the 71 is higher than the 60, but how much has she changed and improved her game? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is her impact on this kid? That's what we're trying to figure out. So from that standpoint, then once you find your correct leader, your Mr. Miyagi, whoever that is that's going to guide you, then you just gotta trust the process. Now, once you get to that point, now you shut the hell up and you let that person guide. And that part is tough too, because again, if somebody leading you over the cliff, how do you know, right? And it's uncomfortable to trust somebody that you don't know if you should trust. Like I've had kids where I'm telling them they've been used to having the ball all the time, and I'm telling them, listen, I need you to get off the ball for the betterment of you. You're like, I've been playing with the ball in my hands for the last 5 years. I don't. Now you telling me I need to give the ball up? How you helping my game? You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. And then after that, you the two most important things is about faith and about perseverance. But I dumb it down for people. I say like, you know, if you're super religious, Hebrew 11:1, James 1:3. You know, faith is the substance of things unknown and the certainty of things unseen. James 1:3 is faith produces perseverance. I mean, depending on the version you read, it might say faith procures perseverance, right? So you have to believe in something strong, and then you have to keep believing in it as you're fighting and dealing with adversity. Um, the simplest way I like to say is you got to be stupid and stubborn. You gotta be dumb enough to think that you can do something. You gotta be stubborn enough to keep trying when the crap ain't working out. Like you
Mhm.
trying everything you want to try and it's not working out. I'll give Anaya Hardy story. I thought she would share with you guys, but probably her parents could have said it better. Anaya Hardy was a freshman in her first year. I tried to get her to come to Renaissance before she went to Stevenson. She went to Stevenson. She was a softball kid. Didn't want to leave the softball, whatever. I kept telling her mom, like, look, you need to get her to a basketball environment. And they put her on the freshman team of the Livonia Schools, and that's what really made me lose my mind. And they stepped out on faith and left the country to come to Renaissance and to trust in me to help, you know, instill something in her. They start out her sophomore year, because she had to start out her sophomore year and just worked. We just worked every day in practice. She worked, and I would just get on her, I would chew on her, because Anaya was so gifted. She learned how to coach and look like she was doing well. She could finish second or third in the sprint. And you would think, because she's 6'3", so you think she's doing well. But Anaya, you coaching. You need to go harder. I'm calling you out. That crap works for everybody else. It don't work for me. You need to go harder. And I just kept, poking buttons at it. I ended up leaving, and she was passed on to great hands with Deshaun Wood, who was her coach the last 2 years. But she was stupid and stubborn. She was stupid enough to think that a kid could be a freshman, could play freshman basketball at Livonia Stevenson, a not so good high school team. The unknown kid that started playing basketball late and be a top 100 kid. She was top 100 at ESPN when she graduated high school, and be a top 100 kid on your way to college. Like, you know how stupid you got to be to believe that? You know how stubborn you got to be to keep pushing when everybody's in front of you? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't. Normal-minded people, reasonable people don't succeed. They succeed in their bubble. They don't exceed anything. When you're sound mentally and you're reasonable, life is safe. You have to get out of a comfort zone in a reasonable space to really succeed. Like, people ask me, like, they asked me in college all the time, what would you do if you wasn't playing basketball? I said, I'll play basketball. It's like, no, you didn't answer my question. What would you do if basketball doesn't work out? I will play basketball. Basketball is going to work out.
Right.
Take that plan B. Plan A is cooked. It's cooked. I got to be dumb enough to really, really believe ain't no plan B. The second I start to listen to reason and be like, you know what? This ain't really working. I remember my mom used to be, and I love her death. My mom's like, what? Gee, why don't you come and just be finish your graduate? For what? The second I start to focus on that, I'm not focusing on playing. Like, Africa, Nigeria doesn't happen. Barcelona doesn't happen. None of that stuff happens if I start to lock in on, man, I need to get that done. So you got to be stupid and you got to be stubborn. If you're stupid and stubborn, man, you'll go far in life.
I love that. I love that. So as we get ready to get out of here, as I said, we finish up with the rapid fire 5. So it starts with for you favorite basketball player of all time.
You know, a lot of one.
Most memorable game you played in.
You saw what?
Most memorable game you played in.
Game 6, championship, 2015, it's Italy. I'll send you guys a link to it. We were down 3-2 at home. If we lose, our season is done. The Triple Crown is not complete. Everything is gonna fold. I tore my meniscus. Had 21 rebounds in game 5. Tore my meniscus on the road. I didn't know I tore my meniscus yet. I just knew something was wrong with my knee. And I remember the physio trainer snapping it back into place, and right before the game, and I was in a lot of pain. They gave me some medicine, and I went out there and had 26 points, 15 rebounds, and something. And it was a triple overtime game. I actually fouled out. Greatest game I've ever been a part of. It was
Love it.
Wow.
Favorite basketball drill to run as a coach.
Oh.
My earbuds died. Favorite
Oh, you good?
favorite basketball drill to run. Ooh, that's a
As a coach, yeah. What's your favorite to
uh,
put on them?
right now. Slide, run, slide. Slide, run, slide. That's how you build elite on ball defenders. Slide, run, slide. You slide in when you hit you start in the ball side. You start in the corner. You slide to the free throw elbow, and then instead of just dropping into a slide, you drop into a run, and then you slide to half court, the sideline, half court sideline. Then you drop and run. So it's like teaching kids how to recover when somebody hits you with a change of direction, but you start off super slow. Then you build up speed each rep. So every time you do a full rep is all the way zigzagging all the way up to the court, then you come back the other way. Then every time you get back to the start, you change the speed, you go a little faster. So that way you can really focus on fundamentals, et cetera, et cetera.
Love that. Biggest misconception about coaching?
That you enjoy it. We enjoy basketball. The coaching part drives us nuts.
What do you envision for the future of basketball in the Metro Detroit area?
I'm very, very diligent and intentional about turning Metro Detroit into a powerhouse of talent. And the only way to do that is to dig deeper into the youth. And like I said, put the right foundation in them early, so there are less flaws in their game when they get older.
Coach Lawal, I appreciate your time here. It was absolutely amazing. Have to get you back. Have to get you back.
Better than advertised.
I got one rapid fire question for Coach Rowe.
Yeah.
Come on with it.
Hey, when Charlie gonna come hoop, man?
You know what? That's the $1 million question.
Charlie said she ain't rocking with it.
If this not dealing with nails, hair, fashion, nah. Her career. Hey, look, real quick. I know you gotta go. So me and Shane, near each other in the community, he saw Charlie and said, "Oh, that little girl, she about 13." I said, "Nah, she just turned 10." He was like 10. If you don't put a basketball in her hand.
That's real coaching, right? 10. Oh, I'm excited. Bring her to the court. Bring her to the court. I love it.
Says I started planning out her basketball life. I'm sitting here trying to figure out, am I gonna put her on a block, put her on a wing? I'm doing all this. And it's crazy because his son can shoot the blood out the ball. I'm like, man, I don't care about that. Right. To the other side. Charlie, come on.
Yeah, come on. Don't you see? We gotta get Charlie to see that they wearing their nails and their hair and everything.
Right.
Still, even in the game, she's not seeing it. Yeah. But awesome. Gotta definitely have you back. Would definitely want to check in with you as this season starts for you. Congratulations on
thank you
on being hired.
Thank you. It's gonna be a slow.
Do well today. Do well today this weekend. Big tournament.
Yeah. Good luck in the tournament today.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna be looking for that link now. You promised me a 3 overtime game, so I'm gonna be looking for that one.
I'm about to find it right now if I fall right back asleep.
Oh yeah. Get your rest. I appreciate you getting up and rocking with us early.
I'm gonna tell you how I know y'all gonna be great at what y'all building, man. Y'all talk. Man, I saw 6 a.m. I said 6 a.m. They're gonna be great in life.
Oh, let me tell you this, Coach. Now check this out. I ain't been asleep since Tuesday.
Hey man,
I
ain't been asleep since Tuesday. This is what we do. So,
Coach,
we building this thing.
Doesn't sleep.
I'm gonna be on the lookout for you. I'm gonna pop up at the game, Coach. So
for sure,
be ready. But I appreciate the time. Cess Talk Sports now joining the conversation. Coach Lawal.
Thank you,
Coach Rowe. I appreciate your time. It's your favorite not team with Uncle Tendencies. Until next time, stay tuned. Talk soon. Y'all keep hooping.
All right.
We out.
Stay stupid and stubborn.
Stupid and stubborn.
I love it.
And as Anaya let us know, listen to the message and not the tone. Let's do it.
Yeah.